Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Jaime and I'm the proud owner of an e-commerce agency helping online brands become market leaders. What I want to do in this video is show you 3 ways that you can use to charge more for your social media marketing services. This is going to be of insane value for those of you who are just starting out and you don't really know how to go about charging your clients, and you also want to make sure you're working with high quality clients, and also for those of you who have a few clients under your belt but you're not quite satisfied with the quality of these clients, you're not quite satisfied with how much you're making per client. So really excited for this video. I wish I had known these strategies when I first started out in the social media marketing agency space, but unfortunately I've had to learn all these strategies through trials and tribulations. So I'm hoping you guys find a ton of value in these strategies, and without further ado, let's go right into it. You know it's going to be good when I've got pen in hand and I've got this whiteboard behind me. But yeah, let's go right into the 3 points that you need to keep in mind. The first one is the quality of the client, so quality. And the quality is determined by, number 1, the ad spend, and number 2 is determined by the revenue, okay? So the reason why it's determined by the ad spend is simply because if they're spending quite a bit on ads, then the total returns you can make them are going to be much higher. Sure, in absolute terms, you might be able to get them a 2x return, right? But a 2x return on a 10K ad spend, right? The total profits that you can make them are much higher than if you make them a 2x return on a 3K ad spend. And so if you're making them, let's just say, a 10K profit every single month, then if you take 20% of those profits, it's going to be much higher than if you're taking 20% of a 2x return on a 3K ad spend. Make sense? Good. Then the revenue, if they're spending 0 on ads, they tell you, hey, I'm spending 0 on ads, their ad spend is going to be determined by their marketing budget, and their marketing budget is determined by their revenue. So very simply, if their revenue is not very high, then the marketing budget is not going to be as high, which means that the profits you can make them every single month are not as high, which means you can't charge as much. So that's really the first thing that I want you guys to keep in mind, that the quality of the client is mostly determined by their numbers. There's a few instances where these 2 things don't apply. For example, they might have external investment, right? Sure, the revenue might not be very high, right? But they've got, 5 million, 10 million external investment, which has actually been the case for a few of my clients. The fact that, they're just starting out, they've got an amazing product, but they're backed by a big investment and a big investor. And so obviously they can throw a lot of fuel into the fire. They just need someone like me to come in and show them that I can make them incredible returns, right? And once they see that, we can scale very fast. But those are some instances where it's a bit more nuanced, especially when it comes to e-commerce. But that's the first thing that I want you guys to keep in mind. The fact that if you're reaching out to smaller clients, then obviously you're not going to charge those big retainers, 4K, 5K, 6K, because what you charge should be based on how much these guys make and the type of returns you can get them. Right? Charging more is not so much decided on, being more confident and, meeting a few limiting beliefs and charging the client more. If a client's making 50K a month in revenue, you're probably not going to charge them 5K a month. So I do believe that most people underprice themselves when they're starting out, but there is a certain component that is just determined by how much, the value that you can actually get them. It's not so much the limiting beliefs that you have regarding pricing. So that is really the first thing that I want you guys to keep in mind. The second thing, and this is more of a mindset thing, but I really want you guys to keep this in mind, especially for those of you who are new to the high income scale online marketing sphere, is the fact that we do not want to get paid by the hour, paid per hour, okay? We do not want to do this. This is no bueno, okay? We want to get paid by results, paid per results. This is how we work, okay? And this is actually the case for all high income skills. If, for example, you're a copywriter and you write emails for a client, right? You shouldn't get paid by the amount of hours you put into that email. Why? Because this email is going to generate revenue. We are there to make the money. And that is the case for most high income skills. The fact that the high income skills, sure, you can put in 2 hours, you can put in 10 hours, you can put in 40 hours, you can put in 30 minutes. They are there to make money, they're there to generate revenue. So it's not so much the time that we put into it, it's more about the result. My clients don't really care if I spend 5 hours a month or 50 hours a month, as long as they get the result that they're looking for. So as long as I make them really good money and they're happy, they're gonna stay with us. So the easiest way to charge more is completely disregard this paid per hour structure and focus on the value you're actually gonna be able to get them, right? If you get them a 2x return, as I just mentioned, right? If you get them a 2x return on a 10K ad spend, that's gonna be decent money for them, and you should be compensated accordingly, not just by the hours you put in to creating the ads or the copy or whatever it is, but by the revenue you generated. And that is why I really like, especially in e-commerce, and that's also why I love e-commerce, is the fact that you can charge a percentage of ROAS, or even better, a percentage of profits, okay? Simply because with ROAS, there's a few blurred lines. Obviously, ROAS, you don't take into account, you should be taking into account this, but you don't really take into account the break-even ratio, which is basically the point at which they're making profit. So if you do go with percentage of ROAS, what you should do is only factor the percentage of ROAS once you've hit the break-even ratio, right? Anything above the break-even ratio, then you tap into that. Because if you're eating all their profits, then it's probably not a very good deal for them, right? Because obviously there's cost of goods sold. But I digress. I really want you guys to shift away from this pay per hour stuff, right? And switch to the pay per result. And one way of doing this, and kind of forcing your way to do this, is by factoring this into your pricing. So that is really the second thing that I want you guys to keep in mind. The third thing is gradually move them up the value ladder. So if you guys don't know what a value ladder is, so number 3, value ladder. Value ladder is basically, it kind of looks like this, but much better. And at the bottom we've got a value offering that's not as pricey. Then we keep increasing the value, and then obviously the high step is the most valuable, right? So here we might have Facebook ads, right? Here we might have Facebook ads plus email, right? And here we might have Facebook ads, email, CRO, and then plus creative, something like that, right? The reason why I'm very passionate about e-commerce as a sector, and especially an e-commerce agency, is because you can have this 360 approach. When you're running Facebook ads for a dentist or a restaurant, right, you can't really move them up the value ladder. Sure, you can add maybe content creation for the restaurant, but it's a very different type of service. The thing about e-commerce is that all this, for example, CRO, for example, email marketing, for example, creatives, chatbots, all this stuff has a massive impact on the success of that e-commerce brand. And so when I sign a client, I don't really care much about the front end value of that client. Sure, I want to make sure that we're getting paid well and we're getting paid according to the result we're going to get them, right? But I know that I'm going to be moving them up the value ladder as we go, as we build trust and they see that these guys can really get results, right? And so it becomes very effortless to continue moving them up the value ladder. And this actually makes us much more passionate because we are passionate about building e-commerce brands. We love Facebook ads and that is our thing, and it will always be our front end offer. Sometimes I have offered in marketing as kind of the front end offer, but we want to have a 360 approach to e-commerce growth. And it's very blissful as well because on the financial side of things, it makes a lot of sense for us because we just keep moving them up the value ladder. We keep adding more value to them. They make more money. We grow their business and then we grow with them, right? So that is what I would want you guys to keep in mind, because when you have this approach and you know that once they start seeing results, because you can get results, once they start, really just building a relationship with your team because you've got incredible client experience, then you just keep moving them up the value ladder, and so your value grows with them. Your value increases over time. And in my opinion, this is the best strategy to charge your clients more. And the reason why I love this strategy is because the reason why you're charging more is because you're adding more value. And I just love when that's the case. A final note on this strategy is basically the fact that I can beat out my competition because I don't really care much about this front end value because I've got a very strong back end value. I know that not only the lifetime value of this client is high because I keep them on for a very long time, but it's also very high because the value keeps increasing, right? And so in my opinion, that is also the easiest way to build an agency, by gradually just increasing your value and increasing their value in return. So guys, that is that for this video. I really hope you enjoyed these 3 strategies. Just to recap, we've got quality. If you're not reaching out to quality clients, and if you're not jumping on calls with quality clients, then obviously you're not going to be able to charge more for your services. That is very, very clear, right? One thing that I will say on quality, this is also very dependent on the platforms you're actually reaching out to clients. For example, if you're doing the Upwork method, and I've got nothing against the Upwork method, I think it does work, right? But it's the lower end of the market. The clients there tend to pay less for these type of services, and also they tend to be less open-minded and very strict about their guidelines, right? And so it also depends on what platforms you're reaching out to and also your niche, right? So that is what I would say on the quality. The second thing is switching from a paid per hour to paid per result. And one way of doing this, especially if you guys are in the e-commerce niche, is by factoring a percentage of ROAS. In that case, obviously make sure that it's above the break-even ratio, and even better, in my opinion, a percentage of profits. So that's really the second thing. And the final thing is the value ladder, which I absolutely love this method. And it's basically all about progressively increasing your value that you add to the client, and in return, your value as well, and the money you generate from this client actually increases with it. So for example, you can offer one single service, then you can upsell them or cross-sell them to that service on top of that, and then you just keep increasing that until you have kind of that 360 approach. And it's so much easier to do this once they've got their foot through the door, because they can trust you and they see how you work. So guys, those are the 3 strategies you can use to charge more for your social media marketing services. If you enjoyed this video, as always, go ahead and drop a big thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Also, leave down below in the comments any questions you may have on this video, and I'll be sure to check those out. And the final thing is, if you haven't checked out my free masterclass, I don't know what you're doing, you're sleeping on this, there's nothing for sale. And the feedback that I'm getting on it is just honestly incredible. People taking the stuff that we covered on the masterclass on how to sign and keep 4-figure SMMA clients, literally applying it and getting results and signing clients for their agency. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check out the link in the description. And as always, guys, hope everything's going well in your agency journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.